So it is Tuesday, December 5th. Obviously, I won NaNoWriMo. This is this year's t-shirt. Out of the three that I own, it's probably my least favorite, but I'm actually used to it now. When I first saw it, I was like, eh. Usually the winter shirt looks like the year shirt, and it completely looked different. I think that's what threw me off. Anyway, I know I disappeared. Besides the fact that I am almost never alone, it's also because the last half of NaNoWriMo was just insane, that I really just didn't have time to update. I kind of feel bad because the last 2 years I updated a lot better, and I actually got my weekly updates on time. I have no idea where I left off. Yeah, I barely won. I finished NaNoWriMo at 50,398 words, which is probably my lowest winning number so far, because I just kept falling back, and it didn't seem how much I thought I wrote, it wasn't enough. And then of course, as soon as a new day works comes in, it's like, well, you have to write double now. I just couldn't seem to claw myself out, and it wasn't until the last week that I was writing way more than the 1667, but all that did was catch me up. So it was just ridiculous, and I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't film anything, because I was just like, I don't have time, I have to keep writing. All the write-ins went well. We had the 15th, which was the week before Thanksgiving. It was the same, it was very consistent, the people who came in. We did get writing done. We continued on with the word crawl, which I actually really like. I think I like the word crawl better than just doing word sprints over and over again. It's something different. It's more fun. I know there were some days I came in, I would update on the group's Facebook and say, hey, I'm gonna be in this day at this time to sit and write. If you want to come with me, knock yourself out. So that's what I did. The 22nd was the day before Thanksgiving, and even though the library was open, there was no official scheduled event, because we figured that people would be busy during that time, so we didn't schedule a date. But I came in anyway, and a couple other people came in anyway, but we didn't get any writing done. We mainly just taught. The library was closed that entire weekend, so they closed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They reopened Monday. I came in Monday and did a write-in, and I was gonna do Tuesday, but I didn't feel like it. Wednesday and Thursday were the last 2 days, the 29th and the 30th. All I can say is we had a lot of fun and got a lot of writing done, especially that last week was when I got the most writing done, but I think that was just because I was trying so hard to win that I was just pushing myself. I got the 50,000 words on day 29, and I got 50,036 words. And I wrote maybe a little more than 300 words the next day, because I pretty much checked out at that point. I was just so done with the whole thing. I literally, on the 30th, I went to the final write-in, which was less a write-in and more of our thank God it was over party. Usually people do their TGIO parties after it's over on the 1st, or maybe a couple days after. I had decided to just schedule it on the same day. I was so tired after the 30th. I had went to the TGIO and came home, and I was asleep within about 10 minutes of coming home, and I think I got home at like 8:15. I was so tired. I put so much mental and emotional energy into this year's NaNoWriMo. I think I put more energy into this year's NaNoWriMo than any other year. It's probably, yes, because I did the ML thing, but I think it was also because this was like the first story that I actually cared about. I can't even remember any other NaNoWriMo I've participated in before 2015, because I was in a bad situation back then. 2015, I just remember that the story that I was trying to write it was not working out, and that was the worst NaNoWriMo ever. Last year, that one, word count wise, was actually really easy. I could have easily have kept going, but the story kind of went off the rails. I had more in that story plot wise than I have in this story. I've written more about the characters and the actual plot in this story, but last year it was like I didn't really care about the story, and it's probably because it went off the rails. And this year I actually care about this story, so I spent a lot more time building than actually doing the plot, because there's a lot going on in this one. So it's hard to just write because there's a lot going on. A few days before NaNoWriMo was over, I had went to see my social worker, and I get there and I spent the entire session talking about, not NaNoWriMo, but I spent the entire session talking about my novel, which was actually very cathartic. I didn't plan to tell him about the novel. It's just that when he starts the hour, he always sits down and says, "So, Joy, what's good today?" So you could at least try to start off by saying something that good that happened. So I decided to talk about how I'm getting excited about writing again, which ended up into an entire diatribe about my novel. The only people I've told, like, actually sat down and explained what this book's about, is the people in my NaNoWriMo group and him. He was legitimately excited because he had never heard of this particular type of spin on a dystopian world. Like, well, actually, once I've actually like laid down the bricks for him. Also, he could see where I got certain things. Like, he could see what parts of my life I've gotten certain ideas from. So he actually gave me the biggest compliment. I don't think he meant it as a compliment. How did he say it? He was basically saying that I was really being myself as I'm sitting here just talking about the story, that I'm being me, that this is the real me. So he had explained how I've constantly worried. I've constantly been like drifting through an existential crisis, and I'm constantly wondering what I'm going to do with my life. He said, "You're a writer." And I'm just like, oh, here we go. Because it's not that I don't want to write. It's just, I just don't see myself having a career as a writer. I never finish what I start, which is the only reason why I've never pursued writing, because I constantly like get excited about something and then lose my nerve and then say I'm out. That's why I'm like, yeah, writing's never going to happen, because I would never finish a book. You know, to have my social worker say, "No, you're a writer." He's like, "I understand you want to go into social work, and that's all fine, but in your core, you're a writer." And I'm just like, here we go. How many people are going to say this to me? The thing about writing, I think the reason why he could see that is because writing is the only thing that I can do that I can be myself besides be by myself. Because that's the only time you're 100% yourself, is when you're by yourself. But we play different roles. You're a spouse, you're a parent, you're a teacher, you're this, you're that, you're a friend. But only when you're by yourself are you 100% yourself. Not 80%, not 99.9, but 100% yourself. I think I have rambled and probably not even talk about NaNoWriMo. I think it went well. As far as the MLing, I definitely learned what not to do, what I should have done, what I should have done earlier. Like, I learned that not everybody checks the forums in their regions, especially when it comes to a region, an elsewhere region. And I need to learn, if I ever do it again, I need to send more messages out, which is kind of hard because you don't want to feel like you're spamming someone, but a lot of people don't know there's events going on because they're not checking their forums. They're just logging in and updating their word count, but they're not really going to the forum, but they might check their messages. So I have a feeling that if I did not come out to the library as much as I did, I don't think I would have finished. At home, it is so much easier to get distracted or get tempted with anything else that's going on in the house, whether it's being at the computer and wanting to check my email or wanting to see what's going on YouTube or playing with the animals. There's so many things. And yeah, you could say, oh, well, it just takes discipline. If you are a natural procrastinator like I am, discipline is not, oh, sit here and write, don't watch videos. No, unfortunately, the discipline is, well, you need to leave. avoid the temptation, and you need to leave your house. That's the discipline for me, is actually get my lazy behind out of the house and either walk or ride my bike to the library, even if no one's coming, and just sit because there's nothing else to do there, because there's nothing right in front of me. There's a difference. I'm not going to say, well, let me get up and look and go in the new fiction section and see what new books are there, or let me get a computer pass and sign in, because that's not how I think when I'm at the library. There's nothing, directly in front of me to be distracted by. And that makes all the difference. Whereas if I'm sitting here at my computer, there's a lot going on. And when I go to these write-ins, it's about accountability. We're asking each other how we're doing, and we're sitting here writing. If I didn't take that step to ask the director of the library if she was interested in doing NaNoWriMo, if I did not take that first step and actually get people to come, I don't think I would have won this year. I am really glad that I did this. And everyone who came seemed to want to do it next year. They are interested in the Now What months, but we might participate on our own with Now What in January. But as far as talking about it in a group, we're going to wait until February, because the Now What months are in January and February, and we're just going to stick with February. I'm probably going to do stuff in January for myself because I have a lot to rake through. If I actually sat down and explained everything about my story, you would probably realize why it's like so ridiculously big, because there is a lot that has to be explained. I have to figure out how in the world you can manage to get rid of an entire amendment. And I haven't figured it out yet. I figured out everything else with the main thing of the story, the segregation thing. That was easy. Fear works a lot with us stupid humans, but that amendment thing, I'm like, Joy, you should just throw that out. You don't have the energy to do all that. You can see how I'm still tired. And it was one of the reasons why I haven't been able to make a video, because usually I will wait until everyone is asleep, and I'll stay up and make the video. I have not been able to do that. I'm just that tired. The other cool thing about this whole situation is that out of the write-ins, we've actually decided to restart a writers group or writers club, because there used to be one a couple years ago. When I first started volunteering at the library, there was kind of a writers group that met once a week. And when NaNoWriMo would start up, then that would be every week at the writers group. But it kind of fizzled out, which is why I was kind of weary about approaching the director about starting up NaNoWriMo, because they already tried. But I said, no, I want to do it this way. But they want to do a writers group, but we're not going to meet every week. The only way we would meet every week is if there's an actual event or project going on. So the writers group is probably going to be once a month. I wrote it down somewhere, but I think it's like the second Wednesday of the month starting next month, because we're going to take the whole December off. And if there's any kind of event or project like NaNoWriMo, then we'll meet every week. That was one cool thing that came out of it, was that we're going to have a writers club again. Finally. You can tell I am so tired. I am so ridiculously tired. And I've been sleeping fine. It's just, over the years, I get more tired out by expending mental energy than physical. I put a lot into this novel. When I started it, it started out as something completely different, because I started out in this notebook, which is trashed and full. The story was supposed to be a metaphor taken literally. So, you know how sometimes someone will say, oh, the universe is laughing at me, or the whole universe is against me. I had come up with a concept of what if that was actually happening to a person? What if the universe was literally kicking someone's behind? Like one person the universe didn't want around. That's what I had started, and that completely went out the window. And now I have my story where it is completely legal to segregate against the mentally ill and neurodiverse, the mentally ill and mentally handicapped, which doesn't sound that freaking exciting until I start talking about it. That's where last year's story came in, because that was a completely different story, but I already had a system of communes for something completely different, and I'm decided to use that same system. So I have to go through that story again. That's gonna be horrific. I hate going back through old story. I have not touched last year's story at all. I think it's because it went off the rails. Like I said, it went somewhere I didn't want it to go. So for the first time, I plan on looking at that story. Not right now. I'm not going to go through my Scrivener on last year's story. I'm going to open up the Scrivener, but I'm going to print it all out, and then I'm just going to edit by pen. It's easier for me to tell what I want to keep instead of looking at the computer where I might just press the delete button, which isn't the point. I also have this notebook. This was actually something completely different. I didn't start this notebook because I filled up the other one. I started this notebook because I had this other voice in my head, and it just didn't match the stuff I was writing in this book. Even though I knew that this person was living in the same world, she just didn't fit. Like, I don't know. I don't see her character in this story. I don't know why. So I didn't want to get myself confused, because I jumped around enough as it was writing this. So I said, you know what? Let's just get another notebook, and everything that this person wants to say, she can say in this story. Maybe I can find a way to get her to fit in. I don't know why she doesn't fit. It's my story. I can make her fit, but for some reason she just doesn't, or maybe she didn't at the time. I don't know when I'm going to go through this, because this isn't even in order. I don't have a plot. Well, I do have the main plot. There's a lot of backstory that gosh, it's so much. I don't know. I have the backstory of the main character, and I have the backstory of the other protagonist. But the only antagonist I have are at least 4 men called the Neo-Founding Fathers, and I feel like I need to have another antagonist that's closer to the protagonist than these evil men who completely controlled the entire country. I don't know. Not to mention there's a rebellion, and I have to figure out what caused the rebellion besides this isn't the way things should be. It's too much. It's a lot going on. Yeah, so that's the problem. I don't really have, nothing is linear. Everything jumps around. I don't even have a name for the first protagonist. The second protagonist has a name. This person doesn't have a name, but the other people in her life does. None of the Neo-Founding Fathers have names. Also, I have to find a way to figure out why they are as old as they are. It's just, oh gosh, I have 0 dialogue. The thing about me, what I could tell you is I never write dialogue, ever, when I am doing NaNoWriMo. Because I cannot write a story during NaNoWriMo as far as from start to finish unless I already had a story before NaNoWriMo or a pretty darn good outline. That's 30 days. So it is impossible for me to have dialogue because I'd have to have a plot and story first, which I am actually working on. Unless there was already something stuck in my head that just appeared that I had to get out, I could never see myself having dialogue during NaNoWriMo. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Because it's not regular writing. Some people who do NaNoWriMo, they will have a story that's in their head, that's been in their head, and they're putting it on paper for the first time. They might have a dialogue. I don't, because the story that I have, I always start November 1st. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's pretty bad. It's. This is the first time I've actually wanted to keep going. Only 5 days after NaNoWriMo has finished, just looking at these notebooks makes me want to curl up and go to bed, because it's just making me exhausted thinking about it. I am so tired. I am recuperating from NaNoWriMo. I survived. I hope that something I said was coherent, because I know I just rambled, but I just really want to just talk about the experience. For anybody who wants to see my daily word count, I will put it up. I have no idea what day I left off on the last update, so I'm going to assume it's the 15th. But I'll put that up just in case you're interested at looking at what my progress was. So, and I got goodies. I totally forgot about that. So I got a bunch of goodies. I totally forgot to mention that I got goodies. I got this notebook. Someone gave me this. There was this one girl who's actually one of the library's pages, and I kept complimenting her because she had a hardbound notebook, and she ended up giving me one. Normally, I would feel really guilty, like I owe a person a gift, but if you watched my other videos, the person that I gave that Doctor Who shirt to, because I don't watch Doctor Who, that's this person. So she was kind of getting me back for giving her that shirt. And then the last day of NaNoWriMo, the other facilitator, she was giving out some pens and stuff. So I have another, this is a composition book, but with a nice cover, and my favorite color is purple. I got this book. This is from one of our local authors, and she participated in NaNoWriMo, and on the last day she brought her books. These are the ones that she can't sell because there was some printing issues. So she asked me if I wanted one, and I said, yeah, sure, if you autograph it, which she did. And it says, "Joy, never lose hope." And she also gave me this. I thought this was so cute. She gave us all these little notepad thingies with a little pen, and then it opens up, and there's a little notebook in here, and I think that's so cool. And I think I am going to do what everyone else said they're going to do and keep in my purse. That way, if I have nothing to write on, I'll have that. Thought these are so cute. I have a couple pens from her too, but of course I can't find them. Oh, here's one of them. This is a nice one. She gave this one to me as well, and of course you can't see it. The first time I ever met her, she came to we had a local authors panel, but since then there was a couple writing workshops that she's been at, and then she came to NaNoWriMo. She's a lot of fun. Okay, I think I have talked about everything I could possibly talk about, and told you I'm tired. So I think we can get back to reading now. I think we can get back to talking about books, at least until next year. I don't think I want to mention NaNoWriMo for the rest of this year, which is only oh gosh, I'm tired. Okay, well, I have to get going because I have to get to the library and live the rest of my life. Congratulations to everyone who finished NaNoWriMo this year, but also congratulations to everyone who participated. I mean, it's fun and it's cool, and it's always going to be like, yeah, you got 50,000 words, but to me, I think the working towards the goal of 50,000 is more important than the 50,000, because the whole point of NaNoWriMo is to get yourself writing. And I think there are a lot of people who haven't gotten 50,000 that are so proud of themselves right now because they've written more than they've ever written in their lives, or because some of them wrote every day, you know, so they're proud of themselves because, okay, I didn't get 50,000, but I wrote every day. So there are more reasons to be proud during NaNoWriMo than just the 50,000. So don't beat yourself up if you didn't get it, because there are other reasons to be proud. Stop talking. You have things to do. I'm gonna go now. Happy writing and happy reading. Bye.